Welcome to SwitchCorner, my name is Alex, and today, 4 years after its initial release, we are revisiting the masterful Furi on the Nintendo Switch. And why are we doing that? That is because they are still supporting this one, and now we get an update in the paid DLC Onnamusha, as well as a fair few accessibility options that have been added over time. They are completely free, so let's take a look at what is involved. With that luck, hit subscribe, join us here on SwitchCorner for reviews and deals near daily, and let's get started. The story here then is a unique one. You'll open the game in jail, a sci-fi-like location, and you escape from what is your cell. You are known as the Stranger, and what precedes is a battle through a prison. This is not your average prison though, but rather a set of connected planets, each with their own boss encounter. It is incredibly surreal and creative stuff, this one, but I always enjoyed the tale it weaves. I also like the fact it delivers its narrative not only during encounters, but there's these slower walking moments that connect each stage. So Furi was actually one of the earliest reviews I did on the channel back in November 2018. I awarded it a 9 out of 10. Now it's a combination of intense combat, boss rush design, then mixed with some somber but short walking moments. These are for narrative moments of the game, but it absolutely wowed me, and seeing support for it this long after release, that is just seriously impressive. The idea for this DLC though, it was in response to the community surrounding the game, who said they wish they could play it again like it was the first time, and the game bakers, they did not disappoint with a new character of sorts in this Onnamusha DLC. It is paid, but I do think that is fair, and then there's still a whole host of extras now since that original release, which will also be worth checking out. So for those that don't know quickly, Furi, it is a boss rush experience, meaning boss encounters only, and you'll be leveraging a dash that gives you invincibility frames, a sword with both single and charged attacks, alongside then a gun, and same thing there, you've got a standard fire mode and a charged. Your defense, the ability to parry if timed right. It is incredibly visceral, it's incredibly challenging, and the controls, for me, they feel just near perfect. This is how you do responsive. As you travel these worlds, then the bosses are the real highlight, multi-staged, and they combine an element of close quarters combat and ranged. Ranged, it often incorporates elements of bullet hell basically it's difficult, but overcoming one of the game's bosses, few games can match that reward. With them being multi-staged as well, if you do die, your health and theirs, it regenerates. If you die too many times, it's gonna be all the way back to the beginning. This difficulty though, that is why I like these short, slow walking moments. They not only add context to what is occurring, but few games recognize it's nice to kind of have a breather where you can almost just enjoy your victory. For those new to the genre then, just know it takes practice. It can absolutely be frustrating as well. That is kind of the hill you need to overcome. So yeah, basically the game addictive, and now we get the new Onnamusha DLC. It would be best described as a new skill set, and it really does change the way the game plays. The main difference here is the option now of two stances. One is weaker, but allows for the typical fast movement speed. One heavy, which of course deals more damage, but at the cost of speed. It is a lot of fun jumping between the two though, experimenting with how the sword and the gun change. They are known though as the Spark Stance and Storm. Alongside this then we get an overcharge meter that increases with damage dealt. This is called Star. It's a time limited, let's say overkill mode that you can activate. It is especially beneficial though if you find yourself in a tight spot. Finally then, we get free updates as well if this new style of combat doesn't sound like it's gonna be for you. If you own the game already, it still may be worth jumping in. This includes now the once paid One More Fight DLC, an extra boss encounter if that was not obvious from the name, as well as invincibility mode, additional controller modes, and then tweaks to practice and speedrun. The invincibility mode, it released actually back in 2020, but it may just have been the accessibility people needed to kind of take that risk and jump in. Now you can only use this in Promenade mode or Practice. Promenade, that is basically easy, and full transparency, that is what you're seeing in the footage today. I've not played this game in forever, but it allows you to skip boss phases, weaken them quicker, skip the fight entirely, or repeat a phase on loop. But that last option there, that's going to be for the speedrunners looking to master that approach by doing the same segment over and over again. So as I said, look, Furi was always an incredible game, and now with them bringing all the versions in line, I have nothing but respect for the team. To return to an IP so many years later at fan request, that is impressive, and the DLC, a new moveset, truly is a game changer. Not only do we get a new approach to mastering story then, but for speedrunners, you get something new now to master as well. Can you do a quicker time with this particular character? It was always a must-buy for me from a gameplay perspective, the base game that is, and I can say the same for this DLC. It's $7 or your regional equivalent, and you get to re-experience one of the best genre entries on the Nintendo Switch all over again. So graphically then, our new DLC comes with of course some new animations to match the character's new skill set. It's as impressive as the rest of the package. Furi has always had this kind of No More Heroes anime kind of vibe to it all, with a seriously vivid colour palette, and 4 years later it is still impressive. The resolution at times can be a little bit soft, and some pixelation in shadows especially noticeable during slower moments, but these are minor complaints, and when you're in the kind of middle of battle, you're really not going to notice. The star move then, that overpowered ability, is particularly impressive, as our gun turns into kind of like a wall of bullets and yellow flashes all over the place. The game's frame rate then is locked throughout, giving you that perfect performance to master these encounters. One experience I of course never got back in 2018 though was the OLED, and I've not revisited the game since the OLED released. It is though the perfect game to show you what the new screen can do. That colour palette, it just pops throughout. Now I can't say though, if I'm talking handheld, that I'd recommend playing this one with Joy-Con though. Just too demanding for me personally. I think it benefits from something larger. Audio finally, and the soundtrack, it is a masterpiece. It comes from a variety of artists, but think Carpenter Brute, Danger, The Toxic Avenger, and a few others. It's mostly of the synthwave variety, and it's up there as one of my personal favourites. The game makers, the devs, they really know how to choose a team for a soundtrack. They actually demonstrated that as well with their follow-up release Haven, where they worked alongside Danger again. Alongside the music though, we get a ton of weapon effects, though it's never one-to-one with bullets from enemies, which would have been completely overwhelming given the fact it leans into bullet hell gameplay at points. It's also then fully voice acted, high quality, though again surreal, so it's definitely kind of got an air of, let's say, weird to its production. So the final verdict on Furi, it was a pleasure back in 2018, and that fact remains the same in 2022. Again, like, respect to game makers for giving us more, for listening to the community, and I think they absolutely delivered on their goal. If you've never played the base game either, start there with new accessibility options and mode tweaks. It's the best it's ever been, and weirdly, dependent on the options you choose, the easiest it's ever been as well, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It just means now the game potentially has a wider audience. Basically, it's not quite as intimidating, and I do think that is a good thing again. Like, the game just deserves more love. Throw in then though our new moveset, and I'm happy to play through this one again. It gave me that kind of renewed excitement to revisit it, and I'll definitely be dialing up the difficulty next as I try to master this new collection of skills. Promenade's definitely a good starting point in though easy mode, but my favourite thing about it as well, and my final notes, they are actually smaller and shorter boss encounters. The game's encouraging you to master it to see the full experience and then move on to dialing up that difficulty. It's just another way they manage to tap into the addiction with kind of a reward. I'm sticking with my score from 2018 though, an amazing 9 out of 10, but few games can stand alongside this one in the boss rush genre, and it comes highly recommended. Do you own Furi already, and will you be checking out the DLC? Maybe you've never played it and now you'll be jumping in. Let me know in the comments down below. A shout out then to the patrons of the channel who are going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. Then hit subscribe if you love the Switch, as much as we will do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.